local cave and dealing with 4 kids, 5 kids, 6 kids. We ripped that away from them, and now they have all this extra energy and they expend it on the mythical universe and telling you you're racist and screaming about the patriarchy and all this dumb crap where you just go, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Your life is miserable.
By the way, if they just come back to the patriarchy, they'd be happier than a pig and you know what, and the statistics show that. It's not like I want to run some patriarchy. It's not that. Men kill themselves in wars. They explore. We are the slaves of the women. We are the worker bees, dumbasses. You're sitting back at the palace. You are the queen if you only take the throne.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the funny thing is they want to be part of our world. Our world, do you take the coolest job? I mean, we both have pretty cool jobs. You take the coolest job in the world, 90% of it is an Excel spreadsheet going over costs and dealing with the minutia of these cables aren't working and we need to try to get an adapter. And these women bust out of the kitchen and they go, I want to be part of your world. And you go, okay, it's mostly number crunching, but...
Or it's pouring concrete all day in 110-degree heat and having some guy bitch at you.
That's our world. We built you a palace, as you say. We set you up with a pretty good deal because we are in awe of the miracle of birth, that you can make a human being. So we go, Jesus, you're a wizard. Here, wizard.
In every culture, the women were actually worshipped as a goddess. So, they're like, this is what we protect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's most of church. You're sitting there, you're thinking about the miracle of birth, and you're just going, wow, thank you. Thank you for this gift. And when we see women, it's almost like they're closer to God because they're magic. So we build them a house and we'll work 24 hours. We'll we'll deliver a package across the country, drive for 3 days straight on amphetamines just to make sure she's okay. And then she goes, no, I hate this thing. I want to do what you're doing and I want to scream at everyone and I want to take over and everyone's a bigot. And you go, why are you adding a computer virus into our perfect system? And if you're going to replace it, by the way, you should be replacing it with something better. They were trying to destroy us and replace our whole system with something way worse.
Well, that's because they want to end the human species to create a manufactured system like the Terminator seeds where the plants don't produce more seeds. They're just turning us into a total commodity. And as Hitler said, first you get the women, then you've got the children, so follow the men. They are targeting women. And then they're just totally desperate and sad. And it's happened. But men have to be men again to turn this around. Compoundmedia.com. Gavin McInnes, you're a great guy. Got your big new movie out. Congratulations on everything you're doing. We appreciate your work.
Thanks for having me, Alex. And thank you for getting Trump elected.
The listeners, they did it. God bless you. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with Black Box voting expert Bev Harris.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GC Network.
This Thanksgiving, I want to thank you for everything you've done, and I want to encourage you to visit InfoWarsStore.com every day, where we have some of the biggest sales in our history going. Our thanks to you and everything you've done. And again, when you purchase these products, I want to thank you again for shopping with the good guys, buying your war bonds, and funding the very cutting-edge, tip-of-the-spear, fearless organization. It is the win-win, where you support the broadcast, you get high-quality products, we support you, we promote liberty, and we grow the liberty movement, we grow the liberty economy with voting with our dollars, and every day the globalists lose ground, every day the globalists become more desperate, every day the globalists lose hope. This is a special. In the past, we only did once a year. Now, I've been bringing it back every few months because it's so popular, and obviously the times are so crazy. Our entire line of super high-quality storable foods at InfoWarsStore.com is 30 to 40% off, but only today, Thanksgiving. If you ever wanted to live off the grid and produce your own clean energy in a silent, reliable way, this is a message you want to pay very close attention to. Thanks to a new development in solar generator technology, it's now possible for my listeners and viewers to produce their own source of emergency backup electricity. And even more importantly, it's now extremely affordable. Thanks to the guys at Solutions from Science, you can get one of these $6,000 solar generators for less than $1,500. We have these units at the office and at my home. I can run my sump pumps, my shortwave radios, all of my devices, and even keep our food from spoiling. Go to powergridchaos.com and get 70% off for a limited time. Folks, there has never been a better time to get off the grid. It's going to be crucial in 2017, maybe even life-saving. Powergridchaos.com for 70% off.
Well, it looks like President-elect Donald Trump is making good on his promises day one of the Trump presidency to withdraw from the TPP. We have an article, it's up on our website, Infowars.com, and aggregated from CNS News. It talks about how Trump characterized the move a part of a plan to advance the simple core principle of, quote, putting America first. Of course, that's been his credo, down with globalism the entire campaign. And now that President-elect Donald Trump, who said on Monday that his first day in office next January will be to begin the process of withdrawing from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a prospective trade deal which has been the centerpiece of the Obama administration, he's going to rebalance it. Now, the Obama administration wanted to rebalance to Asia, but Trump called that a horrible idea. He's saying in an online video message that one of his top priorities in the first 100 days is to ask his transition team to, quote, develop a list of executive actions we can take on day one to restore our laws and bring back our jobs. It's about time. Well, he echoes a sentiment that everyday Americans have felt across this country, and it looks like he's making good on his promise. I'm Margaret Howell reporting for Infowars.com.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
I'd like to spit some beech nut in that dude's eye and shoot him with my old 45. Because a country boy can survive. Because you can't starve us out and you can't make us run. And these old boys were raised on shotguns because we say grace, we say amen. And if you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. You know what's crazy? I look at the incompatibility of what the globalists are trying to build and how disconnected they are and how really delusional they were that they could steal this election when history was on our side. If they stole it, it would have blown up in their face even bigger. So we've had a moral victory here. But they're now trying to take the Senate back from the Republicans that have supposedly won it. They're claiming in New Hampshire. They're going to try more of this now, okay? They're going to try to go back now. They're not going to announce they're challenging the election. That's why Hillary waited till 3 in the morning. I mean, we're up here at 3 in the morning waiting for her to finally come out, and then she just didn't. They sent scurrying rat out there, John Podesta, and, you know, and he's not, it's satanic rituals. He's doing hot dog parties. You know, he's off doing whatever else he does. And I'm telling you, I felt it last week. I saw it too. It's the #1 story on the internet because Drudge linked to it. That spirit cooking article blew a giant bloody hole in their side. They kind of crawled off to die over in the bushes politically, but they're still not completely dead. And they got a bow and arrow over there, and they're going to shoot us in the back. So we got to pull back, stay out of range while they bleed to death. And they're going to try to now go in and steal some House seats. They're going to do some other stuff. Bev Harris has a lot of integrity. She's been a Democrat, a liberal. She exposed what Bush did, and I was bipartisan, but there was more evidence of Republican fraud than Democrat. Both parties do it. And she said last week what Assange said. They're not going to let Trump have it. The fix is in. I'm no rocket scientist, but I've studied this. I saw places where she won by such margins, even their fake polls didn't say that. But they weren't in full control. You can't stop a landslide. I don't know Bev Harris's view on this yet. I'm going to find out, but I respect it. She is the expert globally. I'm not bragging. It's just a fact for us. People need to know how accomplished and on target she is. She's had more exposure of election fraud than everybody else combined. And that's not poo-pooing all those great folks. She is so effective. And when she was on a week and a half ago, it made national news. She released the information here on the fraction magic. These programs they found around the country that have no reason to be there but for fraud to pre-program what's going to happen at the central system. And, of course, Soros is involved, and she just said it. You know, most of the evidence is it's the Democrats, it's Soros, it looks like they're trying to do this. Well, just a lay looking at this, being up all night covering it, having the polls for each state in front of me, it looks like they weren't in control of some areas, and that's why Trump won, because of such a landslide. But it should have been an even bigger victory. And so it looks like that again, what Bev Harris has always said on the show for 15 years, you can't steal a landslide. Now, I'm going to find out if I'm wrong or I'm right here from her. And of course, we're pretty close to this right now. We'll know more as it unfolds. But Bev Harris, I mean, is that a basically accurate what I said, or is it wrong?
Yeah, basically accurate. You did pretty good, Alex. As I was watching yesterday, a few observations. One thing struck me very early in the morning yesterday is they had been planning fireworks, and then the Clinton campaign suddenly canceled their fireworks. And they did this early in the morning, which makes me curious as to whether, their intel, they already knew they were in trouble at that point, because it didn't make sense otherwise. They may have still thought they could pull it off. Another thing that struck me, though, I have seen, particularly with the Democrats, a tactic where they'll take a concentrated blue area and hold back the results for hours and hours and hours. For example, when Hillary ran against Obama in the primary in Indiana, Lake County, which is East Chicago and Gary, I knew it. It came in like ridiculous hours later, and then and suddenly turned the state to her. Right? What they're doing when they hold back these dense areas is they're basically figuring out, watching the results come in and seeing how much they need in order to tip the thing, and then they'll send in those results once they've got the amount that they need to feed it into the system. Last night they were holding back, and it was ridiculous. They were holding back Detroit in Michigan, Milwaukee in Wisconsin, Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, and Nashua in New Hampshire. Now, Nashua has like 9 wards. What the heck? They can't count, and they have voting machines. They can't count 9 wards in 6 hours? I mean, no, they were holding it back because it's 7%. But I think as you continue to watch, Trump was absolutely rolling through, mowing it down in the rural areas. And they didn't have enough. They couldn't, they could hold them back if they want. They couldn't come up with enough to overtake that.
Because you can't have, 150% of the population voting in those.
Right. So it doesn't matter. You can fraction magic it, but you can only fraction magic it to 100%. You can't do anything more than that. And
so I mean, as a top expert on this, and I want you to roll through the evidence you saw, but I mean, give us a boil down. Then it's pretty clear then to see they tried to steal it, but the tsunami was so big it broke their back.
Yeah, and remember, fraction magic is done by a local fixer or a regional fixer who has inside access. You're not going to do that in every single county, and if you're only going to choose certain counties, you're going to pick the big urban counties. You're not going to pick those small little rural areas. And what I was watching happen last night is he was taking it in the rural areas. And he was taking all the small counties to this tremendous margin. She also wasn't performing as, the other thing is she simply was not. She's not Obama. She wasn't pulling Obama's voters. But in other words, if you're going to fraction magic it, you're going to be selective about what you do, and you're going to pick where you have the greatest opportunity to do something with the least.
Well, I agree with you that it was seismic the night before when they canceled the fireworks display.
What he had was dispersed. Really tough to deal with that. It's really tough to deal with that. So I don't know, but I do tend to, this is just a gut feel and really is not based on facts at this point, okay? But I think that he probably may have gotten more even, than was reported. I mean.
Well, that's exactly what I've been saying is that, because, I mean, I went to the polling place and there were all these Hispanic folks, men, coming over telling me they were voting for Trump. And I was just like, wow, there was not even a lot of white guys. It was a bunch of, women and Hispanic men voting and just seeing that. And what I see on the street in a Democrat city, I don't see any Hillary stickers. There were Obama stickers everywhere.
Well, it varies in the part of the country. I happen to be in California right now. And, what I'm seeing here is folks are just mystified as to how it could happen. It has to do with what you're surrounded with. And, that's the country is different in different demographics. But, it was particularly telling to me. I can't tell you how weird it was to see that they had already canceled their celebratory fireworks early in the morning. It's like that could happen if they had their people on the ground telling them, you know, you have lines and lines and lines of people voting and they ain't voting for you. I mean, if that's the problem, they may have went, okay, let's at least make it a little bit subtle. You know, this was an interesting election, and it's going to continue to be interesting because, the next thing has to be that we haven't solved any of these problems, by the way. You know, we still have to get the ballot images released. We now have another state, Virginia, that has refused to give up evidence of the election. We have now got Virginia, Washington State, Utah, Kansas, Nevada, and Indiana, all saying that they're going to refuse to give over any evidence of what the election actually was. And so we haven't solved the problem. It is true you can't necessarily tamper a landslide, but you can do a whole lot of the state and local races, and you can certainly do any of the congressional races. So until they make the elections transparent and let us have what we have a right to have, which already exists, which is the records in the machines, we're still not out of the woods on this, and it's just going to happen again where there's something. I think the problem there was she couldn't really plausibly win.
Now, Bev Harris, that is exactly my analysis and our crew's analysis watching this. Hillary absolutely looked really freaked out the night before the election when she was campaigning. Bill looked really defeated all day yesterday. You could see it. And I think it's clear. They canceled the fireworks because they knew.
They knew. Yeah, they knew. And they were hoping maybe they could pull it off by holding back these big urban areas. And see how strange this is. I mean, really strange. They're like, well, Detroit, which is Wayne County, Michigan, we're at 80%. This is at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning their time. Come on, that is not how it happens. It is not, there's no reason whatsoever that you can't have your vote total by 3 o'clock in the morning unless you're holding it back.
So, and now all over the country, you just mentioned it, we can go over these. Roger Stone has now joined us, former Trump campaign head, and obviously the media finally figured out one of the main actual brains involved, along with Stephen Bannon. Bev Harris is here with us. He's here with us in studio. I think it's important, even though Trump has won, for the integrity of the election, I got a sneaking suspicion, you're already pointing towards it, that this is fraud against Trump. In fact, that's where the evidence is pointing. Bev Harris is a liberal. She is a Democrat. She has total credibility. Yeah. She's here telling you that. But still, we should just investigate, because this is, justice be done, may the heavens fall. We're not contesting the election. It was a tsunami, a huge realignment for populism, a takeover of the Republican Party, a repudiation of their horrible blue blood behavior. And let's just say it, racist behavior in many cases. This is beautiful. But looking at this, can you recap that or expand on it about where we should look for the fraud and why that's important?
Well, the bottom line, the takeaway on this is we still need to get the systems transparent so that we can verify the vote. I mean, if you can't do that, then it's just waiting for some other disaster in the future. There is one other thing that struck me that I'd like to mention. I mean, it really struck me as odd. There was a point in time in which New Hampshire was separated by only 96 votes. And yet, you did not, and by the way, and I think Pennsylvania at one point was separated by only 2,400 votes. In a lot of states, this can actually trigger even a mandatory recount. We did not see a peep, even in the closest states, that there was even the possibility, even a discussion of any recount anywhere. And we should have probably seen that. I mean, it's abnormal that we didn't with some of the at the stages where it was very close, because the pundits have to have something to talk about. And that can signal, of course, what happens in a recount is great scrutiny of the vote count. It can signal, hey, we don't really want any scrutiny of this, we being Democrats, any scrutiny of this count, any further scrutiny. We're not even going to discuss the idea of any further scrutiny. So that also kind of makes you think, if you really are hard fought and you're separated by 94 votes, my goodness, why wouldn't you? So it makes you wonder. But it doesn't give me any more confidence in the process. It just doesn't. We basically, until we can verify the count, which records are already in the system to do that. They're just simply refusing to let anybody in the public see them, even though under Freedom of Information law, it's our right. So, until they do that, it seems like they're hiding something.
Bev, I'm just stunned here listening to you. It's so amazing. And again, your maxim, you can't steal a landslide. Roger Stone, I also want to ask Bev Harris, it's just a political question for the lady that heads up blackboxvoting.org, Hacking Democracy, top HBO film, the leading election fraud expert in the world, who's just exposed the big kahuna with her engineers and software folks that discovered it, the fraction magic, clearly in play here against Trump, but it all blew up in their face because it was such a tsunami. Roger, I want to ask you this question, then Bev. I'm not a vindictive person. Napoleon, the first time he was defeated, was sent to, what was it, Alba, and then he came back later and millions were killed. He started a whole new war. Napoleon was a nice guy compared to these globalists. I mean, George Soros and all these people. It's not vindication. We have to give them no quarter. They've got to be brought to justice for the crimes they've committed. I'm really concerned, and I hope it was just conciliatory. He promised to lock her up, special prosecutor, and the evidence is overwhelming. Don't we need to immediately, or I guess as soon as he gets in 2 months, we have to bring them to justice? It's not political vindictiveness. These people are legendary criminals. Roger?
We're either a nation of laws or we're a nation of men. Either there are consequences on what the Clintons have done at long last, or they are able to continue to dodge justice. This is something a prosecutor and a court has to decide, but
right.
The real problem has been ability to bring the charges, to get a fair indictment and trial. First of all, Bev, I want to salute you for the amazing work that you are doing. As you know, we tried to track some of the exit polling to be compared to machine totals. And therefore, we've taken a hard look at all the work you've done. And I salute you. You are an amazing person, and you have done amazing work. So my hat's off to you.
Bev, what's your view on that question? I mean, you're all about justice. I mean, if it came out Trump was cheating, I'd cover it.
Yeah, my next book, the title of my next book is Black Box America, and it is dealing with the underlying corruption issues. I started studying money laundering, which is sort of by definition complicated, just like electronic voting is like, oh my goodness, you go through this, hope, and that. I've been doing that for about 4 years, and I've been studying it off of indictments, where they unravel it in the indictments. And, it looked pretty darn clear to me for quite a while now that the Clinton Foundation is actually a money laundering operation. It does need to be investigated, and it does need to be investigated. I'm not going to say that there is guilt before it's been ascertained in the court of law, but it definitely needs to be investigated because it just looks that way.
Sure. I know you're formerly
that may not be the president's role. It may be the Congress's role, but there has to be an actual bona fide investigation.
Well, we need an honest attorney general. We need a non-political attorney general, one who will go on the basis of the law. I can think of a half dozen people, men and women, who would be an exemplary attorney general. But we've had Eric Holder, we've had Loretta Lynch, we've had a succession.
It better not be Giuliani.
I don't think it will be Giuliani. He'll be too busy as Director of Homeland Security. Actually, I don't think the mayor will join the government. I don't think he has an interest in joining the government.
I'm not trying to get on some bandwagon against him, but let me tell you, the patriots in the intelligence community and everybody, they know about Giuliani and stuff, and he just needs to go.
I understand your views on him. Any way you slice it, though, he played an important, in fact,
No, he did. I'm not here attacking Giuliani. I'm just, exactly. Let's go to break. Final segment with Bev Harris. You're going to continue on riding shotgun, co-hosting Bev Harris, blackboxvoting.org. She doesn't ask for this. I'm going to do it for her. She's spent everything she's got doing this. It's a total passion. She's an amazing lady. She thinks she's had one book out, 20 years fighting this. She funds it all herself. Go give her a donation there and support us. We have free shipping store-wide right now, InfoWarsStore.com, and 30 to 40% off storable food, the great supplements, InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. And we have the new upgrade of the free InfoWars app, $4.95 a month. There's all these special live insider events every day on the new app. This Thanksgiving, I want to thank you for everything you've done, and I want to encourage you to visit InfoWarsStore.com every day, where we have some of the biggest sales in our history going. Our thanks to you and everything you've done. And again, when you purchase these products, I want to thank you again for shopping with the good guys, buying your war bonds, and funding the very cutting-edge, tip-of-the-spear, fearless organization. It is the win-win, where you support the broadcast, you get high-quality products, we support you, we promote liberty, and we grow the liberty movement, we grow the liberty economy with voting with our dollars, and every day the globalists lose ground, every day the globalists become more desperate, every day the globalists lose hope. This is a special. In the past, we only did once a year. Now, I've been bringing it back every few months because it's so popular, and obviously the times are so crazy. Our entire line of super high-quality storable foods at InfoWarsStore.com is 30 to 40% off, but only today, Thanksgiving.
Well, it looks like President-elect Donald Trump is making good on his promises day one of the Trump presidency to withdraw from the TPP. We have an article, it's up on our website, Infowars.com, and aggregated from CNS News. It talks about how Trump characterized the move a part of a plan to advance the simple core principle of, quote, putting America first. Of course, that's been his credo, down with globalism the entire campaign. And now that President-elect Donald Trump, who said on Monday that his first day in office next January will be to begin the process of withdrawing from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a prospective trade deal which has been the centerpiece of the Obama administration. He's going to rebalance it. Now, the Obama administration wanted to rebalance to Asia, but Trump called that a horrible idea. He's saying in an online video message that one of his top priorities in the first 100 days is to ask his transition team to, quote, develop a list of executive actions we can take on day one to restore our laws and bring back our jobs. It's about time. Well, he echoes a sentiment that everyday Americans feel across this country, and it looks like he's making good on his promise. I'm Margaret Howell reporting for Infowars.com.
Dr. Group, you developed Living Defense for us. It took you over a year to do it. Why is this so good?
Because people are actually waking up to the problem that pretty much scares me the most. I mean, I try to make sure that I don't put toxins from food and water and beverages in my system. But right now we're dealing with massive parasites, which is anything that's harmful to your body that lives off a host mechanism. Right now, with all the refugees spreading disease around, we have biological warfare going on everywhere. These are all parasites.
Tell us about all the stuff that said that there's so many things that are in it.
You have the neem in there, you have the organic clove bud, the organic wormwood. I recommend doing a parasite cleanse at least twice a year.
All right, well, I'm glad we've got some back in because I'm going back on it today. It just came back in yesterday. Living Defense, InfoWarsLife.com. And folks, you can't lose. It's full of stuff that's great for your body, period. And you support the broadcast, InfoWarsLife.com. Thank you, Dr. Group from the Global Healing Center. Thank you so much for all your work, sir, on this great product. Final segment with Bev Harris. We've got Roger Stone riding shotgun with us right through 3 o'clock today, and then he's getting on an airplane. He's telling me I should celebrate. You know, he was big buddies with Nixon. They reported one of his best friends after he was out of office. And Nixon could never savor anything or ever appreciate, you know, a victory. Look, I love everybody, but it makes me love the country and you that much more. And it makes me so frustrated because I see them all this race-baiting crap and just the division and making stuff up. And I really want people to come together. And so I just get mad. You know, Van Jones saying this is a white backlash and all this crap. This was a backlash against NAFTA and GATT. It was a backlash against the mainstream media. I mean, the truth is Trump is not even conservative, okay? He's a populist. And thank God, I can't stand Paul Ryan. I can't stand the horrible Republican filthy establishment. They're just as bad as the Democrats. And here's an article, Infowars.com. Kingmaker Drudge defeats establishment media with Trump win. We've all done it, but this is a repudiation of the polls. We told you they were fraudulent. This is a repudiation of the MSM. Now, before I go back to Bev Harris with final comments, they're telling me, plug. We need to fund this operation. Great, we're dominating. With I haven't gotten the numbers. When we left last night, it was 27 million people that had just tuned into video streams that we can track. Okay? All our videos for the 30-something hours before that, 27, 28 million. We haven't tabulated it yet. Again, that's not bragging. It's saying these people aren't a joke. They need to know they're a joke. MSM calls me. I don't do the interviews. They don't have real people watching. They got a bunch of zombie idiots watching. Anyone with half a brain isn't watching them. And it's not that we're even that good. They're that bad. So we got free shipping going right now, store-wide, InfoWarsStore.com, on non-GMO seeds, on supplements, on water filters, on everything you need. Trump is my president is about to sell out. It's a red shirt. It says Trump is my president. Infowars.com on the back. It's limited edition. Hillary for president. We launched that. It's gone, folks. Other people are copying it. That's fine. I say limited edition. It's limited edition. When these red shirts are gone, they're gone. And your purchase helps fund the operation. Infowarsstore.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. And we have another shirt designed by Roger Stone available, the Bill Clinton rape shirt you've seen all over the nation and the $100,000 in prizes we've handed out. That contest is over, folks. I don't got that much money. But it's just an example of guerrilla journalism, getting the truth out. Infowarsstore.com, InfowarsLife.com is the supplements, or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Bev, thank you for everything you've done. Other little, I mean, I know you'll know more in the days and weeks to come, but other little factoids or tidbits we should know.
Oh, listen, anybody who is upset, any Democrat who is upset that Trump is the winner, has the DNC to blame. WikiLeaks email number 1120. Look at the attachment to that. It is a DNC strategy session where they are working to elevate Trump as the front runner because they feel he will be easier to beat. Be careful what you wish for, folks. Then they ended up, completely screwing Bernie Sanders and doing all kinds of tampering with that. They pushed down the candidate that people wanted. They gave the people a candidate they didn't want, and then they elevated a different candidate artificially. If you want to point a finger at somebody because you're a Democrat and you're upset about this, look to the DNC because... That's
right. Well, it shows their disconnect.
That's the responsibility right there.
Bev, I agree. I mean, it shows the disconnect that they thought someone brazen and brash and Americana would be negative. They're in their own echo chamber. They have the opposite of the Midas touch.
Yeah, I guess that email has been reported as well, but I happened to find it kind of by accident. I just went, oh my goodness, I think it's April 2015, and they're all having a strategy session as to how to elevate Trump, and they're saying because we're worried about Bush and we're worried about Cruz. Or worried about Rubio.
No, I mean, that is a real one. You're right. We've covered it. Sanj just talked about it.
Yeah. So okay, and now we talk about a judgment problem. People have a judgment problem.
Bev Harris, you're amazing. Can't wait to have you back up. Can't wait to have you back up soon to give us more post-mortem analysis. Thank you so much. We'll be right back with Roger Stone, Steve Pachenik, Larry Nichols. I'm going to take your phone calls. Roger Stone in studio. Stay with us.
Visit GCNlive.com today.
This Thanksgiving, I want to thank you for everything you've done, and I want to encourage you to visit InfoWarsStore.com every day, where we have some of the biggest sales in our history going. Our thanks to you and everything you've done. And again, when you purchase these products, I want to thank you again for shopping with the good guys, buying your war bonds, and funding the very cutting-edge, tip-of-the-spear, fearless organization. It is the win-win, where you support the broadcast, you get high-quality products, we support you, we promote liberty, and we grow the liberty movement. We grow the liberty economy with voting with our dollars. And every day the globalists lose ground. Every day the globalists become more desperate. Every day the globalists lose hope. This is a special. In the past, we only did once a year. Now, I've been bringing it back every few months because it's so popular, and obviously the times are so crazy. Our entire line of super high-quality storable foods at InfoWarsStore.com is 30 to 40% off, but only today, Thanksgiving.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show. Rallying patriots worldwide in defense of human liberty. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Well, the former spy chief and head of psychological warfare and co-founder of Delta Force, Dr. Steve Pachenik, is joining us coming up. And there has been a rebellion in the intelligence community. The media tries to misrepresent that claim. Well, Pachenik isn't running the movement. He never said he was. The point is, it's just people everywhere. We're the movement. You're the movement. Citizens are. Everybody. Human. We're just citizens here fighting a globalist takeover like the French Resistance or something. This is real. Roger Stone's here. Pachenik's coming up in the next segment. He's riding shotgun with us for the next 2 hours. Take a little break for some lunch in a little while. We're getting Roger some lunch. But Roger, wow. You agree we need to go after them. They need to be punished. They need to go to jail. Not out of vindictiveness. Justice must be served. Plus, this is Day of the Dead. These zombies are going to keep coming back at us until their brains have been removed.
Well, first let me address something Bev said, because I think it's crucially important, because we've seen this before. If you read Hamilton Jordan's biography, there's a whole section on how Jimmy Carter wanted to run against Ronald Reagan, thought he was a simpleton.
Oh, you said this a few months ago.
Thought that he was imminently beatable. We saw the same thing here, where if you look at the returns in Detroit, in Milwaukee, in Pittsburgh, for example.
Replay of Reagan.
No other Republican could have won this. Had we nominated a conventional establishment Republican, you would have gotten the traditional Republican vote in those places, and we would have lost. Only Trump could have won this. So, again, Bev's right. Be careful what you wish for.
Why are they so incompetent? I knew Trump was the strongest from the beginning.
Because they're elitists. They don't understand working people. They don't understand how average people think, and they don't understand their values, and they never understood Trump's appeal to working people. He speaks the language.
We want to go eat a hamburger and drink a beer. They want to go devil worship and drink blood. They're just disconnected.
Exactly. Now, the other thing, to go to your point, is Trump is a man who means what he says and says what he means. You watch the debates, you can run them back down and rewatch them. He is going to seek justice for those who have broken the law. Now, he doesn't think that he unilaterally can wave a wand and say Hillary should be sent to jail. There's a process, but they have avoided the process for 40 years. And now it is time for it all to catch up with them. They need to be put through the judicial process. The Clinton Foundation is not a charity.
It's money laundering.
It's a slush fund for grifters.
But don't we have the total proof with the WikiLeaks from 3 weeks ago where we got to cover this up? There's like 15 of them that I saw. We got to cover it up for POTUS. He's in secret communication with this illegal thing. But this is like, God, we're all screwed. Drawn quarter, whoever did this. This is totally illegal. We have them running around admitting they're committing crime, so dumb on emails, then admitting they want to cover it up. I mean, it's open and shut.
We've always had the evidence. What we haven't had is an honest prosecutor who will take it to a grand jury so that justice can be done. Now I think you will finally have that. We now go into what I think is a crucial period, because personnel is policy, and the president-elect needs to choose people who reflect his worldview, who reflect his mindset.
Yeah, no more old guard. He needs to get patriots, new people, folks from the outside. He needs to get business people, doctors. He needs to get a wide spectrum.
And he needs to avoid globalists. He needs to avoid neocons. He needs to avoid those who are tied to the mistakes of the past. He needs a fresh team of
Tell
people.
folks how pathetic the mainstream media is. Famous people, because it's on your phone, are calling Democrats who've been attacking. Now they suddenly are kissing your ass, asking for jobs.
The job seekers now come out of the woodwork. First, there's the Republican job seekers, those who were never for Trump. They're the ones calling to say, I was with you the whole time. Can you send my resume? Can you send my resume? Then you've got the reporters who wouldn't give you the time of day, who misrepresented what you said, who attacked you. Now they want to know if they can get an interview with Donald Trump. This is the way the world works. This is why I left Washington when I did. Washington is the phoniest place on the planet. If you want to meet real people, you got a better chance in Hollywood.
Well, exactly. And I want to just say this. What am I asking for from Trump? Just be true, restore the republic, cut taxes, cut the debt, unify the nation. I'm not asking for anything. Just do what you said you'd do. Please, for my children, we'll be back. Stay with us. But there was an article last Friday in Hollywood Reporter that is so important, where Steve Bannon, the chief strategist for President-elect Trump, lays it out that globalism was designed to make us poor and set up this elite system for rich families to control everything. And that America is going to absolutely now lead the world out of this with incredible prosperity. And they have the actuaries and the numbers with cutting taxes on working class people that will bring back Americana under the Republican Party. But he says we've got to purge the Republicans of the establishment people, and we've got to deliver to the people, and we will get a majority vote from whites, Hispanics, blacks, you name it. Because it'll be based on having a sovereign, prosperous nation, not one where the government takes the wealth from the middle class and then redistributes it to a growing, dumbed-down, giant underpopulation made up of every race of human. If you want human liberty, if you want freedom, if you want self-determination, if you want to be able to control at least a small part of your own destiny, we are brothers, we are sisters in arms together in the great quest for free association, free will, and the right for self-determination. I salute you, and again, thank you for taking the InfoWar, which you are the heart of, to the next level, and to encourage you to continue right through this Thanksgiving, to share the information with your friends and family, to share the articles, the videos, the URLs, the podcast, and to support the broadcast by getting the amazing pro-Second Amendment apparel, the pro-Trump apparel, the pro-nationalism apparel, the non-GMO heirloom seeds, the high-quality water filtration systems, the amazing supplements and nutraceuticals, which are running 30 to 50% off right through this week, with every day having a loss leader special at InfoWarsStore.com. Check it out today, and please continue to support this operation. I am very proud to announce the introduction of the highest quality InfoWars Biome Defense Probiotic. We wanted to come out with the largest spectrum of high-quality, known probiotics that have been proven to improve overall digestion and health and detoxification in the body. Biome Defense is an exclusive blend of 50 billion live and active cultures from over 23 different probiotic strains that are known to support digestion and intestinal function. Our researchers are confident that we have been able to develop what will be the leading probiotic on the market. Secure your Biome Defense in ultra strength or regular strength at InfoWarsLife.com today and get started supporting your digestive system naturally. We've been testing this formula for years, but this is the limited first run to the public, so please take advantage of it today. Support your own health and support the InfoWar.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
The election came. We won. It's now November 9th, 2016. I'm your host, Alex Jones, and history is now being made. Never underestimate the arrogance of the Washington bureaucrat and banker class. They created this con that they were invincible. Now that America has tasted victory again, the spirit of the Republic is rising. Dr. Steve Pachinik is with us for the next 40 minutes or so. Then Larry Nichols, who has just proven to be so dead on, is going to be joining us. David and I continues on, and we've decided whatever crew wants to stay, there's no pressure. We're going to just continue, not 52 hours, we're going to continue broadcasting right through tonight till as long as we can stay here. Because that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen, and you're here by the tens of millions. I haven't checked the numbers. In the first 30-something hours, we had 27 million people just on Facebook and YouTube and on our own streams. Just on Facebook, before it was like 10 million or more. Again, that's not even our main platforms. I had to kind of pistol whip around here, folks, to make people start putting our videos on Facebook 6 months ago. I'm joking when I say that. That actually buggy whip people. But the point is that very exciting things are happening. We are ace of spades every time, royal flush, blowing the living daylights out of them. But we have to prosecute them. These rats are not ever going to back off now. They've always hated us because they know we're colossals compared to them. We're not here to screw people over. They're mentally ill and want to pull everything down because they're so spiritually ugly. Now, Roger Stone's riding shotgun with us throughout the broadcast today. He's flying back out later this afternoon. I want to do some in-depth talks with him, but this is all kind of co-hosting here, just briefly, because they keep telling me this. Yeah, Alex, you want to hire 4 or 5 more reporters and crew members and pay the bills around here, you need to plug, which I haven't done in days, our sponsors, and you need to stop skipping breaks, and you need to, and I got Ted Anderson telling me this from Minnesota, I got them telling me, and I'm not bitching, I'm just saying, refuel us. There isn't anywhere where you can buy products that are better. We go out to the top producers and say, we want the most ridiculously high quality. And we're going to have it at a low price. And they just go, no one does this. Well, we did. Okay, whether it's X2 or whether it's DNA Force or whatever it is, free shipping store-wide, InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWarsStore.com is the umbrella site on non-GMO seeds, high-quality storable food, everything there. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. And Donald Trump has said it, and the media tried to hang it like an albatross around his neck. I'm not bragging. It really is true. InfoWars is at the absolute core of the rediscovery of America and the American system in 1776. Not because I invented any of this, but because I rediscovered what America was in life and in the history books and more. And then for 20-plus years, I've been in the trenches learning this from every angle and developing a knowledge base that no one else really has. Other people have knowledge bases that I don't have. I'm not saying I'm some grand poobah. Let's just say this. This brain trust is being given to everybody, and you're adding to it like a electrochemical supercomputer that's interfaced with the silicon world. This is the new true AI system, is we the people interfaced in the new media and overthrowing the entire technocracy they believe would be our enslavement. It will now be the delivery system to Valhalla, but we have to take it in our hands. And that's not utopia I'm promising. That's reality. But it's an animating contest. Now, we will not be teleported there on a bed of roses, as Thomas Jefferson said. InfoWarsStore.com is the energon cubes we need. It's the fuel. You get high-quality products. It's symbiotic. There are things you need to reuse and have again, just like we need to continue on breathing as the seasons pass, as the planet orbits. InfoWarsLive.com, InfoWarsStore.com, StevePachenik.com is his great website. He's joining us right now, popping in. And, of course, we have Roger Stone here. Jump in anytime, Roger. But what an incredible time. Now, Pachenik, we're co-hosting, so just give us little nuggets of where you see this going, what's unfolded. You know, we talked this weekend, and I said I thought Trump was going to win. I mean, I knew they were going to try to steal it, and I had a bad feeling. And Beth Harris was on. She's a liberal, but she said clearly they tried to steal it. But the tsunami was so big that it defeated him. So I think now, asking you, what do we do next? I want your view. I mean, clearly, do you think we should just let Hillary sail off into the sunset?
Clearly not. First of all, I want to congratulate you, Alex, and Roger for really initiating this American Revolution. It was not easy. It's an important idea that people have to understand that this was initiated by what we call the alternative media. Roger and I had worked under Reagan. We had worked under other presidents, Nixon. But this is really a revolution, and this was a revolution that people should understand, initiated through your auspices, plus Roger interceding, my coming in, but it also belongs to the men and women who are in our intelligence service, our military intelligence, our civilian intelligence. Had they not performed, we would not have been at this position. And I can't tell you how important they have been to the integrity of the Republic. It's not just the men and women who carry guns and fight our wars, the kinetic wars. This is a new kind of war. And let me tell you, in 1973, I was fortunate enough under the GI Bill to not only attend Harvard, but MIT. Not because I was so smart, but because I understood that at MIT they were going to teach me something that had never been taught before, and that was the Internet and social media. 1973.
My dad was at UT in the 60s, and they were talking about CD-ROM and social media then as well in the Plan 2 program when he was in high school. And, of course, you know that was a secret DARPA program.
That's exactly it. So we have to thank DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and even the CIA for having initiated this type of modality that nobody could conceive. 50 years later, we have been able to utilize it using you, Roger, many others, and the Internet to literally have a coup, which the Clintons did and attempted it. And there was a counter coup. There's no question about it. Without soldiers, without tanks, as Roger said, you know, the old line Republicans were useless. We were able to kick them out. And in turn, what happened was the Republic answered in a way that we'd never seen before. The voices that came through you, through the protests, through the meetings that they went to with Donald Trump, and the fact that Donald could articulate our discontent and maintain it at a phenomenal rate that even I was stunned. I got to tell you, as a doctor, psychiatrist, I've never seen anybody like Donald Trump. He was tireless. I mean, I had to go to bed at midnight, 1 in the morning, because I figured, this will keep on going. But truthfully, we owe a great debt of gratitude to the family, the Trump family, to all the people around him.
They're warriors. They're warriors. And Roger Stone here with us, former Trump campaign head. He's got.
Well, Roger's an old-line warrior. I mean, he and I worked for Nixon. I had a great, great respect for Nixon. And as I said to a friend of mine who's now meeting with Rumsfeld, I said, the spirit of Nixon, and I came in later on. Roger was far more involved with Nixon than I did. I really came in towards the end and then the Ford administration. But Nixon communicated with me, and that man was a genius. I mean, people really only understand Watergate, but they don't understand how brilliant he was. And he was a poor man. He grew up as a Quaker. He watched his brother get killed. He grew up with all kinds of problems that he was able to.
Well, reportedly, Stone was like best friends with Nixon after he got out of office. That's what the New York Times says.
I admire him, and I understand that.
He never lined his pockets. He never used his position in government to enrich himself. They tried to say that in Watergate. It was false. He was, above all, a patriot. He was for a strong America. He was for peace. And he paid the ultimate price for it. But and he made mistakes. There's no question. Closing the gold window, enormous mistake. The war on drugs, enormous.
But he wasn't a demon.
Mistake.
You had a question for Pacheco.
He was a patriot.
Roger's correct.
He was a
did
patriot.
that. And ironically, the liberals come up to me and say, oh, my God, I didn't know that Nixon had created the Environmental Protection Agency. I didn't know Nixon had initiated NIDA, National Institute for Drug Abuse. I said, yeah. It doesn't mean we're all right-wing
neocons.
See, one thing interests me, and that was the byplay of last Friday and Monday. Like you, I have very good sources in the New York Police Department. They assured me that the treasure trove of 650,000 documents that were found on the Huma Abedin Anthony Weiner server were political and legal dynamite. I mean, just evidence of treason, evidence of corruption, evidence of crime.
Sex compromising.
Evidence of pay for play, evidence of sexual blackmail, and so on. So how is it that the FBI director, who took months to go through 33,000 emails, could say, oh, we've been through all this and there's nothing there?
Well, that's my next question for both of you. I was told by sources.
Well, and why did no one...
That they told Hillary, you better not try to steal it, because we're going to bring all this out.
Roger has a key point, but I will answer. Roger understands this because we've been in several administrations. Fear and collusion are one of the greatest dynamics that you have in politics. And the Clintons were able to collude with Loretta Lynch and James Comey. The reason why, Roger, he had to come out is because thanks to our military people, our people in the intelligence community, who were sick and tired of his acquiescence, of Comey's acquiescence, they allowed a lot of the emails to go literally right through WikiLeaks, and we have to give a kudo to Julian Assange, who really...
Who is the MVP? I mean, is Julian Assange even more key? I mean, Trump's the MVP.
He is very
Drudge is an MVP. How do you...
I mean if I were Trump, I would give him a pardon and ask him to come to the United States and give him American citizenship.
Isn't it time to bring Snowden back?
That's a different issue. No.
Agreed. That's a different issue. But I agree with you on Assange. I would offer him a pardon. Look, they threatened to kill this guy. They threatened to drone him. They put pressure on the British government to actually withdraw the diplomatic recognition of Ecuador so they could rush the embassy and arrest him, because he was the man with the secret.
All right, guys, stay there. We're going to come back. I want to ask you guys quick questions, quick answers. How do they strike back, this nest of globalists, George Soros and others? Because I know we're all celebrating here, but, I mean, we just won a big battle, but we're still, got more attack ships coming. And so I want to win. I want to win it all. Stay with us. This Thanksgiving, I want to thank you for everything you've done, and I want to encourage you to visit InfoWarsStore.com every day, where we have some of the biggest sales in our history going. Our thanks to you and everything you've done. And again, when you purchase these products, I want to thank you again for shopping with the good guys, buying your war bonds, and funding the very cutting-edge, tip-of-the-spear, fearless organization. It is the win-win, where you support the broadcast, you get high-quality products, we support you, we promote liberty, and we grow the liberty movement. We grow the liberty economy with voting with our dollars. And every day the globalists lose ground. Every day the globalists become more desperate. Every day the globalists lose hope. This is a special. In the past, we only did once a year. Now, I've been bringing it back every few months because it's so popular, and obviously the times are so crazy. Our entire line of super high-quality storable foods at InfoWarsStore.com is 30 to 40% off, but only today, Thanksgiving.
First try was the League of Nations, second try was the United Nations, and the third try is now to make the United Nations the full world government that was intended. Most of the nations in the United Nations and in the European Union are members of the ruling parties are members of the Socialist International. When they start talking about globalism, they try to soften it by talking about, well, we're talking about globalization and about increased trade and cooperation among nations. No, they're not talking about cooperation. They're talking about coercion, of building global governance, global institutions that will have world power, legislative, executive, judicial power, military and police power to override nation states. First of all, to erode and then destroy national sovereignty. They do not want a United States with a constitutionally limited government being able to in any way resist their plans for global governance, which is total takeover of the financial, political, educational, all systems, everything that we rely on as part of our culture and our economy and our government. They want that to be all under global controls. They cannot allow us to continue running our own lives. And that's what national sovereignty, of course, is all about. And so you see Richard Haass, president of the Council on Foreign Relations, Zbigniew Brzezinski, Henry Kissinger, constantly attacking national sovereignty. And they say, as President Obama said in this recent article that you referred to in the New York Times, that, we saw World War I and World War II, all of the death and destruction that those conflicts brought to the continent of Europe and to all of the world. It was the result of nations failing to cooperate. And he said, we don't want to see a repetition of that. That is the theme of the false narrative that has been given to us in our textbooks and by our world leaders, globalists, for the last several generations. And of course, that isn't true at all. The World War I and World War II were actually initiated by the globalists. Peter Sutherland, of course, is the ultimate globalist insider. Goldman Sachs, European Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission, Bilderberg, all of the organizations, the globalist New World Order organizations that the establishment media says don't exist or are benign, inconsequential, social mingling groups. And Peter Sutherland and George Soros, with his International Migration Institute, were the ones that put this together. And of course, George Soros last year said that the New World Order has to feature China as the center of communist China as the center of the New World Order.
By the way, I'm not obsessing post-mortem here on who the MVP is. I want to know who was the most effective. Drudge overall, punching through narratives, showing the truth, giving people a palette of reality to make their own decisions outside of the echo chamber of MSM. Obviously, Julian Assange, Brexit, and Nigel Farage, and that breaking away. It's